So, what happens when you finally talk to a stranger in English? Will you freeze? Or, will you fly? It's a question that, well, it echoes for so many of us, doesn't it? That moment where all your practice, all the stuff you do in your head, suddenly comes face to face with the real world. We've all been there, right? Standing on that edge where it's simple chat feels like jumping off a cliff. But here's the really interesting thing we found in our sources today. Sometimes that small act, like literally just saying hello, can profoundly boost your confidence, maybe in ways you don't expect. Our mission on this deep dive is basically to explore the power of taking that first step, that really important first step in communication. We've looked at personal stories and behavioral psychology research, expert views on learning languages, all to kind of unpack why that initial leap, that quick chat, isn't just practice. No, it's actually a game changer, especially if you're learning a new language or even just trying to connect more day to day. To really paint the picture, I want to share something personal from my notes. It captures this internal fight perfectly. So imagine this. Just this morning, I was out for a walk, and this little voice kept nagging me like, should I try talking to someone today? It's that classic thing, isn't it? That push and pull. On one hand, my mind was just flashing warning signs, all the what ifs. What if I mess up? What if they don't get me? What if I sound ridiculous? It was basically screaming no. But then there was this other part, this like pull towards connection, towards actually doing something. My heart was saying yes. It's that feeling, that knot in your stomach right before you do something brave.
That internal conversation you're describing, it's so common. It's really rooted in what psychologists call our fight or flight response, even, in social settings. What's really fascinating looking at the research is how our minds tend to cook up these really dramatic worst case scenarios. But the actual chance of something bad happening is often pretty low. So this tension between the mind being cautious, which is, self-preservation, and the heart wanting growth, or what we might call our drive for self-efficacy, that's just fundamentally human. Recognizing that mental tug of war, that's the first big step to getting past it.
Absolutely. And recognizing it was key for me this morning. After, what felt like ages of back and forth in my head, I saw someone sitting on a bench looking pretty relaxed. It felt like, okay, here's the chance. Or maybe that was just my heart deciding for me. So I took a deep breath, like really deep, the kind you take before you jump into freezing water. And I just deliberately started walking closer. Each step felt like winning a tiny battle against that self-doubt. And then the words kind of just popped out. Simple words, but they felt huge. Good morning, how are you? For a split second, I honestly thought I'd blow it. My mind went blank almost. I was braced for stumbling or just linguistic disaster. Felt like walking a tightrope, so vulnerable. But then something really, really unexpected happened.
Right. That moment of vulnerability, that pause where you're half expecting the worst, that's actually where the courage shows up. What communication studies often highlight is that just starting the conversation, never mind how complex the words are, is usually the biggest hurdle. We tend to really overestimate how negatively people will react. We sort of project our own fears onto them. Your story, and honestly, so many others in our sources, they show the reality is often way more positive, sometimes surprisingly so. It really shows the power of just taking that first step, defying those internal negative predictions.
It was incredible, actually. The person on the bench, this total stranger, just smile. A proper warm smile. They replied super politely, I'm good, thank you, how are you? Such a normal, everyday thing. But for me, right then, it felt massive. And just like that, without thinking too hard, I replied, I'm fine too. How's it? A few words exchanged, but wow. Inside, I felt so happy, so sort of alive. It was like this rush of joy, like the sun coming out after a storm in my head. Before that, I'd spent ages practicing phrases in my mind, talking to myself. But it was all theory, like shadowboxing. This was different because, for the first time, I wasn't just practicing anymore. I was actually connecting with someone in English. It wasn't about perfect grammar or fancy words. It was just real human interaction.
Yeah, that huge emotional shift you felt. That's exactly what behavioral scientists call a small win. But its impact, it's anything but small. The lesson, and it comes up again and again in our sources, is that even a really short, seemingly tiny conversation can feel like a big victory to your brain. These first moments where there's no pressure for perfect grammar or long speeches, they're like the basic building blocks for what psychologists, like Dr. Albert Bandura, called self-efficacy. That's your belief in your own ability to succeed at something. So it's not just practice, it's proof it works. Each time you have a tiny successful interaction like that, it starts to rewire things a bit. It shows you, okay, communication is possible, people are generally receptive, and your effort pays off. It changes it from the scary academic thing into something real, rewarding, and something that makes you want to try again.
That's such a key difference, isn't it? Moving from just thinking about it to actually doing it and connecting. It's like you don't realize how much that internal practice just in your head holds you back until you actually speak. And the fear, oh man, the fear of making a mistake or not sounding perfect, that's such a massive hurdle for so many people.
It absolutely is. And that's why our sources keep stressing how important it is to kind of take apart that fear. You don't have to talk for ages. You don't need flawless grammar. You don't need a huge vocabulary right away. Just start simple. Good morning. How are you? Even just thank you. No. These aren't just polite noises. They're really powerful little tools for connection. Think of them as like a gentle form of exposure therapy. They slowly get you used to the feeling of real-time interaction without the anxiety overload. These small words build trust, right? Because they show you're open, you're respectful, willing to engage. And then they build your own confidence because you started something and finished it successfully. That reinforces the self-efficacy we talked about. It just makes the whole idea of starting a conversation much less scary by lowering the stakes. Makes the goal feel achievable.
Yeah, that feeling of relief when you realize you don't have to sound like, I don't know, a news anchor. You just need to be you and connect. It's so freeing. And honestly, for anyone listening right now who feels that knot in their stomach, that fear about talking to a stranger, I really want to say, based on my own experience and what we're seeing in the research, I know it feels scary. I was nervous too. My heart was seriously pounding. Stomach was a mess. But once you actually try it, once you take that little leap, you often find something amazing. Our sources, from psychology studies to just personal stories, they consistently show that, well, you'll see people are kinder than we imagine. Most people. They smile back, they listen, they try to understand. It's like we build up this image of strangers as these critical judges, but really most people are just people. They usually appreciate the effort, and they often kind of mirror your own positive intention back at you. It totally reframes how you see strangers. Not as potential critics, but as potential connections.
It's a really powerful reframing, and it's backed up by findings in something called social reciprocity. Basically, most people tend to respond positively when someone makes a genuine, even if imperfect, effort to communicate. Realizing that helps chip away at the fear of being judged. You start experiencing empathy and connection instead. But it's also fair to say, as some sources point out, not every single interaction is going to end with a huge smile. People might be busy or just not feeling chatty. That happens. But the key thing is, even then, a short, polite exchange usually ends neutrally, not negatively. So the actual risk of a truly bad experience, it's way lower than our anxiety tells us it is. The learning comes not just from the good interactions, but also from realizing that the occasional brush off isn't about you. It's just normal human stuff.
That's such an important point. Yeah. It's not about winning every single time. It's just about showing up, getting in the game. So if there's one big thing to take away from all this today, it's this. Don't be afraid. Start small, like really genuinely small. One hello can seriously open the door to more conversations, more unexpected connections. And trust me on this, because I felt it, and the science of habit formation backs it up. Every single time you try, every time you push past that hesitation, your English gets stronger. It's like building a muscle, or maybe like compound interest for your confidence. Each small effort adds up significantly over time. It's a clear, actionable path for anyone wanting to improve how they communicate. Not just in English, really, but in any part of life. It really underlines that cumulative effect.
Exactly. That cumulative effect is so crucial. It's not about one big heroic act. It's about a consistent series of small, brave steps. Each hello is like doing a rep at the gym. It strengthens not just your language skills, but your courage muscle too. The more you flex it, the stronger it gets. Which makes the next step, maybe a slightly longer chat, feel less intimidating. This steady, positive reinforcement gradually rewires our brain's fear response. It turns scary tasks into manageable ones and builds a really solid foundation of self-belief. It's basically progress in action, not just in theory.
Totally. Okay, let's quickly wrap up what we covered in this deep dive. We started with that internal battle, right? The mind says no, heart says yes. Thing we all deal with when stepping out of our comfort zone. Then we walk through taking that brave step, just a simple, good morning, how are you? And the surprisingly positive connection that came from it, the big aha, for me was realizing, hey, I wasn't just practicing anymore. I was actually connecting, moving from just thinking to actually talking. That shift from being nervous to having that genuinely beautiful moment of connection was huge. So the main takeaway, as we've really hammered home, is super powerful. Even one simple greeting can build your confidence bit by bit. It lays down the tracks for bigger conversations later.
And if we look at the bigger picture here, what's really fascinating is how this principle goes way beyond just learning English. This specific act, talking to a stranger in English, is like a powerful metaphor for courage in communication and, well, personal growth overall. Our sources really suggest that overcoming these small fears in one area, like starting a simple conversation, tends to empower you in other parts of your life too. It teaches you that the discomfort of starting something new, it's usually temporary, but the rewards, like real connection and more confidence, they stick around. It's really about building a habit of being brave, one small interaction at a time. And you can apply that to almost any challenge, work or personal, giving a presentation, meeting new people, trying a new skill.
That's so true. It really does ripple outwards, doesn't it? Beyond just the language itself. And speaking of moving forward, in my notes here, tomorrow is day 10. And I'm actually planning something a bit more ambitious. I'm going to challenge myself to talk a bit longer, go beyond just the basic readings. So definitely stay tuned for that. It's all about pushing the edges a little more each time, seeing how those small wins add up.
That's exactly what growth is, right? Just continually, intentionally stretching that comfort zone based on the successes you've already had.
Precisely. And for you listening right now, maybe think about this. Courage isn't this fixed thing you either have or you don't. It's more like a muscle. It genuinely grows every time you use it. It's not something you use up. It actually gets stronger the more you flex it. So what small step could you take today to use just a little bit of your courage? Could be anything. Doesn't have to be English. Just think about it. What one simple hello could you offer to the world, or maybe just to your own goals? The experience and the feeling